I think we stopped somewhere after creativity. Now, for the overall personality development, which we were discussing about, time management skills. Okay, even in workplace, whether it is related to education or in the workplace, any other aspect for that matter, skills of managing the time is quite important to the teacher as well as the student. So even we ourselves as a teacher should be able to manage our time, and even we should teach these skills in students also. We know today under the modern day pressure, we have differing demands. All of us face in our professional as well as our personal and also academic lives, and then it can sometimes seem like there are never enough hours in a day. Means many of the times we end up saying 24 hours is not enough for us in a day because we will not be able to complete our work. But this should not be happening, because we know there are 24 hours in a day, and we know apart from our personal time, what is the time available for us for our academic work, and then the time we can give for our professional development, the time we have to give for our students, the time we can give for our colleagues or any other meetings in the organization and other organizational work. So we should be able to plan all this in the available time we have. So this is where we say we require these skills of managing our time which is available to us, because we will not be able to create more time for ourselves. So whatever time is available, we have to manage the time available to us. So we should know how to effectively manage our time. This is very crucial in helping us to regain a sense of balance. Also, if we are able to manage our time, that also reduces our stress in the work, because stress in work also affects our personal health. Also, stress in work affects the relationship we have with our colleagues. That stress also affects the relationship in our family also. So in order to reduce these levels of stress, time management is an effective technique which we will have to master all. So this refers to, whenever we refer to management skills in time, we are referring to organizing and planning our time. Planning how long we will be spending, what are the activities we will have to go through in a particular day. There are two types of management. One, long-term planning. Keeping the long-term plan in mind, we will have to again prepare short-term plans. With these short-term plans, we will have to again go for daily plans. So how do we manage our time? We first have a list of activities which we have for a particular period. Let me say this month, what are the activities we have to complete? Then if we have to complete so many activities in this particular month or this academic year, then what are the short-term plans we will have to make? In order to acquire these short-term plans, what is the time we will have to give daily for these activities? So this is what we have to manage when we are managing time. So when we go for time management, these are a list of activities which we have given. What I want you to is number each one of them. You see, I have not numbered them. All these are equal. Okay. These are the things we have to do if we have to manage time. Now, what I want you to do is prioritize. Okay. You have to number them. Whichever you consider is most useful to manage time, number it as 1. Okay. Which is the second one, which stands priority when you are managing your time, number it as 2. Okay. So I'll just read out what all we have to do in order to manage time. It's for you to number them now. The first thing, there may be interruptions. Suppose we have planned this within 1 hour, I'll be finishing off some correction of my student. Okay. But immediately, maybe you will be called for a meeting in the college when you are doing some work. So you have to expect some interruptions also in between. Okay. So being prepared for interruptions is one thing when we manage time. Then the second is, do the least pleasant things first. Means many a time we may not be interested in doing some work. We may not be motivated in doing something. So how do I plan? Do I keep it to the last, or do I first finish off the things which I don't like, so that even after I am tired, if something I am interested, I can take it up even after a long day's work. So how do I plan? So this is the second one. Do the least pleasant things first, earlier in the day. Then the third, be prepared to change your plan. Sometimes we would have planned something, then we can't strictly adhere to it. So are we prepared to change our plan also? That is the one. Then make an action plan for every job. Even a very small job which I have to complete, I prepare an action plan. The other one, prioritize and do important thing first. Okay, so whatever activities I have to complete today, I make a list of it. From that, I again prioritize which has to be done first. Okay, so prioritizing according to the importance and according to the deadlines with which we have to complete the work. The next, keep a log of how you spend your time. Okay, so daily, how after, what time I have got up in the morning, what time I have started work, and how much of time I have spent in what type of activities. Keeping a log of all this, so that tomorrow if I go through the same thing, I will see where have I wasted my time, where I could have improved my organization or planning of my time. That can be looked after afterwards. Okay, so keeping a log of how we spend our time. Then being realistic about what we can achieve. Many a times I can just say, okay, I'll finish all this work within 1 hour or 2 hours, but we have to be realistic whether we can really finish that particular work in that particular time. And sometimes we need our colleagues also to work with us, if it may be a teamwork. So if it is a teamwork and others have to join me, whether I can take work, extract work from everybody and ask them to join me in that particular time, and whether I can complete. So it, whenever we are planning, we have to try to be realistic. Okay, not keep our plans in such a way that it cannot be achieved at all. A long time if we go on doing this, that will lead to frustration in our work if we are not able to achieve something. And sometimes if it happens for a long time, maybe even we may lose confidence in whatever work we do. Okay, so this should not set in. So that is why we have to be very realistic when we are setting our goals. We have to set it in such a way that it should be able for us to achieve it. Then the next is, make a list of all the activities which we have to complete on that particular day, and then going on ticking them as we finish them off. Okay. Then think about the best time of the day for each job. We may have a list of jobs which we have to complete. Then we will have to think of what is the best time in the day when we can complete it. Okay. Then if we have stopped being effective, then change the activities. Okay, so this is the list of things we will have to consider when we are managing our time. So maybe keeping it in priority depends on the nature of work which we are doing. So that is why I have not numbered it. When you are adopting in your work or asking your students to adopt when they are managing times, okay, they can prioritize them according to their order. Okay, now there is a small test here which you can take. How good is your time management? Okay, there are certain statements here. For every statement, after getting the score, let us decide if your time management is on the better side, or whether we will have to improve our time management. Okay, just be true when you are answering. There are 5 options given. For every statement, you can either answer that not at all, you have never done this. Okay, and rarely you may do this, or sometimes, or often we do this, or very often or very frequently I do this. Okay, the first thing, the tasks I work on are the one with highest priority. Means now I have to do my work, then I will take up a task which I feel has the highest priority. Or if I feel that no, this is not a highest priority, even if it can go for tomorrow, then I will postpone it for tomorrow. Okay, so whatever task I take up will be of highest priority. Now just say whether it is not at all, rarely, sometimes, often, very often. Or you can even number it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you are saying not at all, give 1, rarely give 2, sometimes 3. If you are saying often, put a score of 4. Very often you can put a score of 5. Okay. If you have scored, written the score, I will go to the second one. The second statement says, I find myself completing tasks at the last minute or asking for extensions. This happens many times because at the last minute we have to send a post or something. Today's speed post will be going off at 3 o'clock, and when it is 5 minutes to 3, I will just complete my work, and that the last time I will rush to the post office to send it. Okay, does it happen? Never happen to me, or rarely happens to me. Okay, just write down. Then the third one, I set aside my time for planning and scheduling. I've seen people saying, instead of sitting and planning and spending time there, I can start off my work. So I will not to plan and schedule. That itself, I lose half an hour daily. Okay. Or whether I really set aside a time every day for 10 minutes in the morning, I will just sit and plan and schedule all my work for the whole day. Okay. Not at all, rarely, sometimes, often, and very often. So this, if you say not at all, 2, sometimes 3, often, and very often with 5. Okay. The fourth one, I know how much time I spend on each of the various tasks I do. Okay. At the end of day, even if I sit to analyze, I will know how much time I have spent for every task today. Okay, so that I will be able to again plan tomorrow if I'm going for work, then which work I have spent most of the time, whether that much time I have spent is really useful, whether that activity is worth that much of spending of time. You can analyze it later. So I will know how much time I spend on each of the various tasks. Okay, again rate it as 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5. Then fifth one, I deal with interruptions. Okay, there may be others who may just come and sit with you for a talk for 10 or 15 minutes when you are doing your work. Maybe you find daily they are doing it and there you are wasting your time. So you should be able to deal with such interruptions which come in between. Okay, whether I deal with the interruptions. Then I use goal setting, the sixth one. I use goal setting to decide what tasks and activities I should work on. Whether you set your goals and then decide what tasks you have to do in order to achieve your goals. Okay. Then the seventh, I leave contingency time in my schedule to deal with the unexpected. Okay, when I'm scheduling my time, I keep some time apart so that something unexpected comes, then I should be able to complete that also, whether I do it or not, or whether I rarely do it or often I do it. Then I prioritize my task I am working as high priority, medium priority, or low priority. Okay, grading whatever activities we take as those having high priority, medium, and low. Okay. The ninth one, when I am given a new assignment, I analyze it for importance and prioritize it accordingly. Okay. Then 10th, I am stressed about deadlines and commitments. Means suppose I have a deadline. There are people whom I have seen, no deadlines, coolly they do their work and they finish it off. Something is given to them and their deadline is set. They said within this day, within this moment, you have to return it back. A deadline is given, they get stressed when they are working. Even though they have sufficient time, once deadlines are set, they are stressed up in work. They are not able to manage their time properly. Okay. So does it happen with you always or rarely or not at all? 11th one, distractions keep me from working on do I get distracted when I'm 12th? I have to take work home in order to get it done. You see many of them, just complete their work in their colleges and go back. They don't take it home. Okay. There are people who do not finish their work at home, college, but take it home very regularly also. So how often does it happen to you? Do you never take work to home, or very rarely, or very often take the work home? The 13th one, I prioritize my to-do list. Okay, a list of things to do. I prioritize them or prepare an action program for that. Do I never do it, or I always do it? That is what is the scale. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then 14th one, I confirm my priorities with my seniors. Suppose I prioritize my work and I feel somebody is an expert or who has done this work already. Do I sit and discuss with them when I am prioritizing my work? Maybe they are seniors, maybe they are principals in the college. Okay, with the experts who have already done that, do I sit and confirm my priorities with them? Then the last and the 15th one, before I take on a task, I check that the results will be worth the time I put in. Okay. So before I will decide what task I am doing and what time I am setting, whether I will really think the results which will come out of my work is really worth the time I will be spending on it. Okay. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now with this, add up the score you have got on all the 15. If you have added the score, we will interpret the score you have got. Okay. If you have got a score between 46 to 75, you are managing your time very effectively. Okay. So you're good at time management skills. If you're not that I will do it, if you are really doing it already, then you are managing your time well. If not, you will have to plan to do them. Okay. If your score is between 31 to 45, sometimes you are good, but there is still space for you to improve. And if your score is between 15 to 30, okay, the good thing is that you still have an opportunity that you can improve your effectiveness at work. Okay. And for your long-term success, you have to realize that you have to fundamentally improve your time management skills. So if it is between 15 to 30, try to improve upon, try to prioritize work, plan your schedule daily in the morning, set your goals. Okay. Then think whether you have any interruptions or distractions which is distracting you doing your work, how to reduce all of them. Okay. There are some things called the time wasters. So you have to identify which are your time wasters. And just look behind and see whether you are preparing a log of all the activities you are doing daily. Okay. So, and then whether you are ready to work with deadlines set for yourself. Others need not set deadline for us. We ourselves have to set deadlines within which we have to complete our work, whether we are doing it. Okay. So all these things will be good if we are managing our time. I think most of you will be somewhere above 30, 40 itself. Because I've
Yeah,
seen
mine is
most, I've
49.
seen 49. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
46 and
Madam,
above
mine
is
is
a good
48.
score. 48 also is a good score. Anybody above 60? Above 60 is a very good score actually. Okay. But anyway, above 46, you are managing your time effectively. Now I move on to another skill. We know teachers now are stressed with so many type of activities in this college. And then it's not just that you are taking 1 hour of class. We know how much efforts we have to put when we are taking an hour of class. Okay. Approaching the students, dealing with the students, because it's not just teaching and coming out in the class. We have to manage the class also. We have to manage individual students. They may come with their different personal problems. Sometimes we should be able to act as a guidance, give them guidance. Even in sometimes there are students who require counseling. Sometimes there are students who require us to guide them even in their personal aspects also. They'll have personal problems, we will have to guide them there. So there is so much of work a teacher has, maintaining relationship with colleagues, okay, maintaining a work culture in the institution. Okay, so teachers normally are stressed, but we should be able to manage our stress, because we know sometimes stress not only leads to only psychological problems, stress also nowadays is leading to physical problems and ill health among teachers also. So we should be able to manage our stress very well. What is stress? When we feel that we cannot handle our activities, okay, more than we were doing it before, that leads to stress. Okay, when we are stressed, the body responds as though we are in danger. Okay, uh, you might have seen, suppose you are a small example, suppose you have to catch a train, let me say. Hmm? You will be walking fast, but if you see the train coming on the platform, sometimes you feel that you cannot keep your leg forward at all. This many of us would have experienced, and sometimes we will be thinking we are good, we will be able to plan our things well, but if there is a deadline and you are stressed up, then you feel that your brain is not working at all, your thoughts have come to a still. Okay, so when we are stressed, the body responds in a way when it responds when it is in danger. Okay, we know when when our body reacts to danger, then there are some physical reactions which will happen in our body, chemical reactions which will happen in our body. It makes hormones that will speed up our heartbeat, it makes us breathe faster, then it makes us burst our energy, use more of energy, and this is what we call the flight or the fight stress response. There are two things when we are stressed, we react in two ways. The first thing is we try to fight against it. The second one response is flight. Flight is just leave it. Okay, we see when we are stressed, sometimes we work hard to overcome it, or sometimes when we get so much stress, then we think that we will just leave it, we will leave to whatever will happen. Okay, we go with this flight response also. Okay, so two ways we respond, but having some amount of stress is really useful also, because if we do not have a small stress also, or even a small level of anxiety, then our body will not respond to work at all, it doesn't work. There is a graph, okay, uh, it shows even the anxiety level, if this performance will go on increasing. Okay, they are not anxious at all about their examination, they don't study at all, they have a little level of anxiety. As the anxiety level increases, we see that they put in efforts also and they perform better also. But there is one optimum level of anxiety or stress where they perform at the highest level. But you go on increasing the stress furthermore, after the optimum level, the flight response starts. They will start losing the interest and then performance will drop also. Okay, so there is some amount of stress which is said to be optimal, which is also useful. Okay, so it can help if we need to work hard or react quickly. So that is why we say that we don't say that stress is entirely should be evaded, but stress to a normal level or an optimum level is useful, but too much of stress and too long stress is not good for health. If stress happens for very often or lasts for too long, it can have bad effects also. Okay, you might have seen if you are stressed for a long time, we see that we get headaches. Sometimes there is also an upset in the stomach. There is many of them experience back pain also, and there are many of them who experience trouble in sleeping. We have seen people who are stressed do not get sleep for more than 2 to 3 days also. then it weakens our immune system. So that is why you have seen, I must be you have seen in the televisions nowadays, especially during this time of the pandemic when we had this COVID, there were many yoga classes which were on the television, and there were many doctors who came up and said, it's not only just avoiding, you have to improve your immune system. Okay, your immune system is weakened if there is high levels of stress. Okay, so this weakening of the immune system will make it harder if we have to fight off diseases also. So it can also make us moody and tensed, and also make us depressed and frustrated sometimes. If this happens, then our relationships also in our workplace and also in the family may suffer. So, and then it may lead us to perform low at our work. So we should be able to manage our stress, and also we should be able to avoid stress as far as possible. How do we avoid stress? One thing, we have to accept that today's modern life with our deadlines are stressful. Okay, it's a fact of life for most of us. In our workplace, there are many a times where even in the families, relationships are stressed up. Okay, so we should be able to get rid of it, and also we should be able to look for different ways where we can lower our stress levels. How do we lower it? The first thing is time management, which we spoke of just before this. We should be able to learn different measures and ways and techniques we should be able to adopt in order to manage our time. If we get more done with less stress, then we have to make a schedule for all of our activities. So we have to think and prioritize our work, prioritize which is more important and which we have to finish first. The second thing is we have to first take care of ourselves, take care of our health first. Have plenty of sufficient rest. Then smoking has to be avoided, limit alcohol, all these have to be adopted. Then try new ways of thinking. When we find ourselves where we think that we are starting to worry, then we have to try to stop such types of thoughts. Sometimes the other option is to, once there is something which is worrying us, we express it outside, then the stress levels come down. So if we are not able to express it with somebody, then we should be at least having the habit of writing it down. Okay, so any worries or stresses causing stressors we have to write down so that we will let them go out. Okay, sometimes we should also be able to learn to say a no. Because every time we go on, even if we are stressed, we are trying to help out someone, then we ourselves may not be able to manage stress. So sometimes we will also be we should learn to say no to others. Speaking up is one thing. Okay, many a times if we do not speak out, then that creates more stress, and then it also develops negative feeling in us. Assertive communication is very important. Whenever we are communicating, we have to be assertive. We should show that this is the decision we have made. And then we have to be assertive about expressing whatever thoughts and feelings we have. And then sometimes if we are not able to do anything, we need some help, we have to ask for help also. Okay, many times we see people who however much they are stressed, they do not want to ask help from anybody. Okay, this is wrong. Okay, we should be also ready to help others in when they require us, and when we require somebody, we also have to ask for help. We have to maintain a strong network of relationship among family and friends. Okay, this is one outlet where we can express our feelings or any stressors we have. So maintaining good and strong network with family and friends also will help us manage our stress better. Okay, so how to relieve our stress? Exercise, a regular exercise daily. Okay, keeping a certain time in our time management scheduling for exercise helps us to manage our stress. Okay, if not trying for other types of exercises and yoga, walking is one great way, because walking outside, it's not walking on a treadmill, walking outside in nature, okay, reduces, is a good stress buster actually. Then writing, if something is bothering us, we have to write about it. Okay, So that is one technique of reducing our stress. And letting our feeling out. You're feeling something worried, you are feeling angry, okay, and then you want to express your joy. Express it with somebody whom you trust, okay. It's not expressing it with everybody. Whomever I trust and whomever I feel will help me out with managing my emotions, I will have to express my feelings out with such people. And then have a hobby, okay. Learning music. It doesn't mean that we have to become good singers or we have to become good instrumentalists, but learning music and then singing is, or playing some instrument is known to, studies have shown that it will reduce stress, okay. So having a hobby, then volunteering ourselves for some work and helping others is also known to be a good stress reliever. Even just listening to music for some amount of time daily also helps us to reduce stress. Then we should also learn different ways of relaxing our physical body, like having breathing exercises, then muscle relaxation. Then we also have massage and aromatherapy, yoga, okay. There are other relaxing exercises which we can follow. Then focusing on the present, not living in the past, not living in the future, because we know past is over, we cannot change it. Future is not still in our hands, it is today which is in our hands, okay. So that is, we have to learn to live in the present. Hmm? So try meditation, then listen to relaxing music, look for humor in life. Daily when we are going around, there is so much humor around us, but we do not have time to observe it and then just laugh around, okay. So try to look for humor in life. Laughter we know is the best medicine and the best stress buster, okay. Be with people who will have positive effect on you. There are people who will have negative effects, who create a negative aura around themselves, who always have negative thoughts. Try to avoid such people in life. There are people who are always optimistic and then positive in life. Try to have such people around in your life, okay. Now there is a small scale which you can take here. This will help reduce our stress levels. Now this questionnaire will show how stress affects our different parts of life. You will have to just tick on the answer. There are certain questions. You will have to score 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. 5, if you are doing this or feeling it on at least 5 days a week. You will have to give 4, that is most of the time, which means at least 3 days a week. 3 if it is sometimes, okay, somewhere around 1 day a week. Almost never if it is less than 2 hours a week, and never if you never have experienced it, okay. Now is this visible to you, this stress indicator questionnaire?
No, ma'am.
No, one second. One second.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, now is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. See, the first indicator here is the physical indicator. Okay. What are the physical indicators of, and how often do you experience it? So put your, when you're writing as a physical indicator, if it is always, almost always, give a 5. If it is most of the time, give 4. Most of the time means at least 3 days in a week. And some time is somewhere between some 2 days. Almost never is only just hours in a week. Never means never you experience. Okay, the first one, my body feels tense all over. Does it happen always, most of the time like that? Give 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Then I have nervous sweating or sweaty palms. Some of them always have this, okay? The third one, I have a hard time feeling really relaxed. Okay? Means feeling relaxed, you have a hard time if you want to feel relaxed. You never get time to relax. Then I have severe or chronic lower back pain. Then I get severe or chronic, means very often, regularly, I get headaches. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. 5 is always, okay. Then I get tension or muscle spasms in my face, jaw, neck, or shoulders. Muscle spasms, if you experience, then if it is never, just put 1. My stomach feels upset. Then I get skin rashes or itching. I get sharp chest pains when I'm physically active. Then I lack physical energy. Then when I'm resting, my heart beats more than 100 times a minute. Next, because of my busy schedule, I miss at least 2 meals during the week. Means, do you skip meals because of your busy schedule? Then, I don't really plan my meals for balanced nutrition. Means, at your food time, you have to just fill in your stomach, so you eat something. I never bother about whether I'm taking sufficient protein, whether I'm taking sufficient vitamins. Okay, whether I have a balanced diet and having sufficient nutrition, whether you plan or not. Then I spend less than 3 hours a week, for a week, less than 3 hours, getting vigorous physical exercise, like maybe running or playing some game or swimming or anything. Now, whatever score you have put, write down for physical indicator, this is your score. We will just interpret the score at the end. Did you total all the scores? Yeah. If you have
Yes, ma'am.
total,
Yes, ma'am.
now I go for the next one, the sleep indicators. Okay. I have trouble falling asleep. Means even if I sleep for so much of time, if you do not get sleep at all. Then I take pills to get to sleep. I have repeated nightmares or bad dreams. I wake up at least once in the middle of the night for no apparent reason. Means even without any reason, if you wake up. Then, no matter how much sleep I get, when I awake, I still feel tired. Okay, even after a good sleep and you get up, you still feel tired. Okay. Now, with these 5, just add up your score. That is the sleep indicator score. The next category of stress indicator, we move on to the behavioral indicators. I stutter or get tongue tied when I talk to other people. Then I try to work while I am eating lunch. Means even while having lunch, I'll be working. Even attending to phone, speaking to somebody when I'm having lunch, okay, all this. Then I have to work late. Late night also we work. The next, I go to work even when I feel sick. We are sick, we want to work and go to work. Then I have to bring work home. Many times assignments we bring home and complete them. Then I drink alcohol or use any medications to relax. This next one is also related to that only. Then at least once during week, many of them go for betting for money or any such activities. Then after dinner, I spend more time alone or watching TV than I do talking with my family or friends. Means instead of spending time with family and friends, we spend time alone watching TV like that. Then I arrive at work late, coming to work late. Then at least once in a week, you either have a shout or a fight with the coworker or a supervisor. Maybe with the colleague or somebody. So these are the behavior indicators, just total them up. Then we have the emotional indicators. I have found the best way. This is an emotional indicator. I have found the best way. Somebody has to mute. Yeah, I have found the best way to deal with hassles and problems. The best way you have found is to avoid thinking or talking about them. Okay, best way to avoid problems is to avoid thinking or talking about the problems. Then I have trouble remembering things. Then I feel anxious or frightened about problems I can't really describe. Means if you're facing problems and you really can't describe the problem, then you become anxious or frightened about it. Then I worry a lot. Then it's important for me not to show my emotions to my family. Means you never express your feelings or emotions with your family. It's hard for me to relax at home. It is best that I don't tell even my closest friend how I am really feeling. Means I don't express my feelings even to my close friend. Then I find it hard to talk when I get excited. Means if I am excited, I cannot talk. Then I have temper outbursts which I cannot control. Sometimes people can't just control and go for an outburst of their emotions. Then when people criticize me even in a friendly constructive way, I feel offended. Means even if it is for our good, somebody is giving us a feedback, I feel offended. I feel extremely sensitive and irritable. My emotions change unpredictably and without any apparent reason. Means the emotions are unpredictable. Okay, I feel I really can't trust anyone. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾರ ಮೇಲೂ ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. The next, I feel like other people don't understand me. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾರು ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥನೇ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಇದ್ವಲ್ಲ ಆ ಥರ. I feel like other people don't understand me. I really don't feel good about myself. Then generally I am not optimistic about my future. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನನಗೇನು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದೇ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಈ ಥರ. I feel very tired and disinterested in life. Then impulsive behavior has caused me problems. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡದೆ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಂಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. I have felt so bad that I thought of hurting myself. If it has happened sometimes, otherwise never. When I have an important personal problem I can't solve myself, I don't seek professional help. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ನನಗೆ ಬಗೆಹರಿಸಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಆದರೂ ನಾನು ಯಾರ್ದು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್, ವೃತ್ತಿಪರರ ಸಹಾಯ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. Add all this up, this is the emotional indicator. Okay, now we go to the next category and the last category here, that is the personal habits of a person. Okay, I spend less than 3 hours a week working on a hobby of mine. ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಹಾಬಿ ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ವಾರದಲ್ಲಿ 3 ಗಂಟೆಗಿನ್ನ ಕಡಿಮೆ ನನ್ನ ಹಾಬಿ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದರೆ. Then the second one, I spend less than 1 hour a week writing personal letters, writing a diary, or writing anything creatively, like maybe a poem, maybe a drawing, maybe a cartoon, something creative writing. Spending less than 1 hour a week. Okay. Then the third one, I spend less than 30 minutes a week talking casually with my neighbors. Nowadays we see we don't have time to even talk to our neighbors also. So talking casually. The next, I lack time to read the daily newspaper. Then I watch television for entertainment more than 1 hour a day. I drive in a motorcycle faster than the speed limit for the excitement and challenge of it. Then I spend less than 30 minutes a day working towards a life goal or ambition of my mind. ಅಂದರೆ ನನ್ನ ಆಂಬಿಷನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಅವಸ್ಕರನೇ ನಾನು 30 ನಿಮಿಷಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ. Okay. Then my day-to-day living is not affected by my religious beliefs or philosophy of life. Then the last one on personal habits. When I feel stressed, it is difficult for me to plan time and activities to constructively release my stress. Means when I feel stressed, it is difficult to plan time to constructively relieve my stress. Total all this up of your personal habits. Now this is a stress level questionnaire. Now we go with the scores here. Look into the physical indicators. If your total is 22 and below that, okay, then you have a very low stress for physical indicator. 30 is medium stress, 38 and above high stress, 48 and above is very high stress. If it is 54 and above, it is a danger level of stress. Okay. Then for sleep indicators, 5 and below, a very low stress, 8 and above is medium stress, 10 and above high, 12 and above very high, 14 and above it is above the danger mark. For behavior indicators, you're somewhere around 18, then again low stress, 27 to 36 is medium, 36 is high, 45 very high, 50 plus is the dangerous level. Emotional indicators, 21 is low, 29 is medium.
Sorry, ma'am. 951, please mute the mic.
Somebody has to mute your mic. Okay, 37 is high, 46 and above very high, and if you're above 55, you should be very careful. Your emotional indicators are showing that your stress level is above the danger level. Okay. Then for personal habits, 9 and below is really low, 9 stress level. 15 to 20 is medium, 20 is high, 24 and above is very high, and 30 and above is the danger mark. Okay. So if look into the areas where you have very high or cross the danger level, these are the problem areas you should focus on if you are developing a management plan for your stress. Okay. If you are everywhere below the medium level mark, then it is really good that you are managing your stress well. Okay. So you should just focus on which area, whether the physical indicator or the sleep indicator, which area is showing high level of stress, and that area you can manage. Okay. So how do you manage? Building stress resources, stress prevention through aerobic exercise, relaxation, nutrition, and sleep. Okay. And one thing you can try to fill in and see what are the warning signs you are getting through this stress level questionnaire. You can make a list of them. You can make a list of what are the causes of your stress, and you can seriously think about how to reduce all of them. This is the right time. Otherwise, if we go on, we do not try to analyze what are the stresses in our life, then maybe we will reach one particular time where we will not be able to come back if there are very harmful effects even on the physical health also. Okay. So it's the right time that we just look into all this. Then after analyzing the stress level and then thinking of different techniques to reduce the stress and planning it, I think these are the time management and stress management, both of them most of the times go together. If we are able to manage our time well, then we should be able to also to reduce our stress. The other aspect of personality development is cultural awareness, because any personality cannot be away from the culture with which we live, or the cultural in which of the society in which we live. So the cultural awareness also should be developed. What do we mean by cultural awareness? Cultural awareness is all about recognizing and understanding that we all have different values, because each and everybody's culture is different. Values of every culture is different. So we should understand that all cultures have different values, and each of us are shaped in our diverse cultural backgrounds. As teachers, we should be able to understand this better, because students come from different cultural backgrounds. We should respect each of everybody's background there. We should be respectful of others, accept other people's opinions, rights, and feelings, even if their feelings are different from ours, even if their opinion differ from our opinion. We should allow ourselves to develop as a more successful personal and professional relationship, and then we will be able to benefit from the cultural diversity in the classroom. The other aspect of personality development is self-awareness and respect to other individuals. Building self-awareness, and self-awareness is nothing but knowing our weaknesses and strengths, knowing our own abilities, knowing our attitude, means knowing ourselves better and having a good self-concept of ourselves. So building self-awareness and cultural awareness will encourage us to think about the importance of being respectful to others. Okay. Recognizing our own strengths and weakness, and recognizing our characteristics of our personality, that is the personality trait, is as important as understanding what makes us happy and can prepare us for the choices we make in the future. So developing a good self concept of ourselves is very important. So how well do you know yourself? Just make a list of this. What makes me feel respected? Means what characteristics of myself do you think, of yourself, do you think will make others respect me? ನನ್ನ ಯಾವ ಗುಣಗಳು ಬೇರೆಯವರಿಂದ ನನಗೆ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ತಂದ್ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Then what happens when I feel respected? Maybe emotionally, physically, socially, do you feel very joyful? Okay, that way. Then what makes me feel disrespected? ನನ್ನ ಯಾವ ಗುಣ ನನಗೆ ಬೇರೆಯವರಿಂದ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ನ ತರೋದಿಲ್ಲ? Okay, that you have to make a list. Then what will happen if I feel that I am not respected? How would I react if I feel that somebody is not respecting me, either my student or someone, my colleague is not respecting? So what should I do to change this disrespect into respect? ಯಾರೋ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ, ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಇದನ್ನು ನಾನು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವ್ರು ನನ್ನನ್ನು ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ನಾನು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಡೌನ್. ಓಕೆ, now here you will have to number the following which I give as okay: respect for your elders, your community. Order them. Which will you do first? Prioritize. Respect the environment, respect the authority, respect your parents, respect your teachers, respect the opponents in sport or in any competition, a competitor. Do you respect them? Do we respect people who have different opinions, different beliefs, who come from different cultural background? Do we respect them? Do we respect people who are less fortunate than us? Okay. So just look into this. We should have or develop respect for all of their individual personality characteristics. Okay. And we have to value everybody's cultural background and the diversity from which they come from. So when we, let me not go with this. Empathy is one more characteristics of a personality. Okay, what is empathy? Teachers should have this ability to empathize more. Empathy is an action. Sympathy and empathy are different. Okay, students or anybody do not need sympathy. What they need is empathy from teachers. Empathy is the action of understanding. It is being aware of, being sensitive to, and vicariously experiencing the feelings and thoughts and experience of another. Means we should be able to stand in the place of the other. Suppose there is a situation, we should think, not just saying what he did is wrong, he should not have behaved in that way. This is not the thing. We have to put ourselves in their situation and then think, if we were in that situation, what way would we have behaved? Maybe even we would have behaved in the similar manner in which the others are behaving. Okay, and maybe even we communicate in the way the others are communicating. So putting ourselves in the shoe of the others and imagining ourselves behaving in the place of the other, this is what is empathy. So it is the ability of a teacher to share another person's feeling, share their emotions as if they are our own emotions and feelings. Okay, it's the ability to identify with or understand the perspective of others' experiences, understand their motivations of another individual, to comprehend and share another individual's emotional state. Means we are trying to understand the emotional state of the others in their own perspective. ಅವರ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಕೋನದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರ ಭಾವನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂಥದ್ದು ಆ ಎಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಏನಿದೆ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎಂಪತಿ. Now there are certain pictures here shown. Okay, you can unmute yourself and see. Can you identify the emotions which of these facial expressions are showing? The first one, what is the emotion expressed?
ತುಂಬಾ ಖುಷಿಯಲ್ಲಿರೋದು, ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ.
Okay, there are two things, being happy and joyful. Joy is different, happy is different. What is that first and second expression?
First one is happy, madam.
Happy. Second one?
Joy.
Okay, it is a higher level of happiness or joy, expression of joy. Okay, the second row, first one?
Sad. Seriousness thinking.
Seriously thinking or worrying?
Worried, anxiety.
Anxious and worried. Okay, there can be a mixture of emotions also, if you see. And the last one? Anger one day emotion idiyali?
Anger, cunning.
Yeah, maybe thinking of something negative, right? That negativeness is shown in the, just look at the eyebrow. There is something cunning which is being thought of. Okay, and then something, you see the eye, he's curious also about something, planning for something. Okay, so a mixture of emotions also can be expressed in the face. We say face is the index of the mind. Okay, however much we try to cover up our emotions, cover up the thinking which we are doing, our face, our eyes, and if we are able to understand our eyebrows, okay, and the lips, everything communicates. We should be able to identify the emotions of the people just looking at the facial expressions, the setting of the eyebrow, the eye. Okay, we will be able to recognize their emotions. Now we have another 4 here. The first one, sadness. Yes. The second,
Anxiety.
Surprised.
surprise. Yes. Extremely surprised. Then the third one,
Crying.
see, there are the way the hand is kept, both of them are showing similar ones, but they differ, right?
Shocking.
Oh my God.
Yeah, oh my God is correct. Are both nervous?
Both are no nervous.
nervous.
Fourth one is showing victory symbol.
Yeah.
I think
Yes. The fourth one is being surprised with a victory. The third one, there is
Crying.
fear also.
Fear.
Yeah. Extreme fear. Okay, so this is how
Okay.
as teachers we should be able to analyze the emotions and the feeling of expressions through the facial expressions itself. We should be able to identify the emotions. Okay, this is what identifying emotions is one component of empathy. See, one is showing pain somewhere,
Some
extreme pain.
hallu
Then
novu.
ಹಲ್ಲು ನೋವು ಇರ್ಬೋದು. There is some pain. Okay, then what is this showing picture?
Is it ಅಂತ ಆಶ್ಚರ್ಯಚಕಿತರಾಗಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು.
ಆಶ್ಚರ್ಯ ಇದೆ, ಆಶ್ಚರ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂತೋಷ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಆದ್ರೆ ವರಿ ಇದೆ.
ವರಿ.
Okay, worry.
ಏನ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೋದೋ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಆತಂಕ ಇದೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ. ದೆನ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಫಿಯರ್, ದೆನ್ ಸರ್ಪ್ರೈಸ್.
ಬಾರದೇನೋ ಆಗೋಯ್ತು ಅಂತ.
ಸರ್ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದು ನಾಟ್ ಅ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ ಸರ್ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಬಟ್ ವಿತ್ ಫಿಯರ್. Okay,
Yes.
this one, the last one, angry ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಕೆಟ್ಟ ಕೋಪ ಇದೆಯಾ, ಯಾವ ತರ ಇದೆ?
ಕೆಟ್ಟ ಕೋಪ ಅಲ್ಲ.
Naughty anger, that naughtiness is there. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
it's not that only children have this. ನೀವು ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸರಿ ದೊಡ್ಡವರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಈ ನಾಟಿನೆಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಆಂಗರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸುಮ್ನೆ ಕೋಪ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇದ್ರೂ ಕೋಪ ಬಂದಿರೋರ್ ತರ ಮುಖ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಷನ್ ತೋರ್ಸಕ್ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗತ್ತೆ ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಕೋಪ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ. ಪ್ರಿಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಂಗರ್ ಇದೆ, ಇದು ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಕೋಪ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಕಣ್ಣಲ್ಲಿ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಅವ್ರು ಎಷ್ಟೇ ಕೋಪ ಬಂದಿರಂಗೆ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ. ಓಕೆ, so these are some, if you just see, this is what we use these emojis for. Showing of joy, acceptance, and showing that we are aware of what you are doing. ನೀ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀಯ, ನಂಗೆ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ನಾನು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ಥರ. ಅಥವಾ being angry, being sadness, okay, then being rejected, surprised, fearful. Okay, all these expressions we should be able to empathize and identify these emotions. Even if the person wants to hide it, ಎಷ್ಟೇ ಹೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳಕ್ ಹೋದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ, especially the eye shows the emotions very well. Okay, that as teachers we should be able to identify. We should also train our students to empathize themselves. Okay, so this is what is about as teachers, not just transmitting knowledge to the students. It is our duty to develop all these skills in our students, and then developing all these abilities in children or our students, so that they develop a balanced and a dynamic personality. Okay, so referring to this, I think now I would just move on a little to identifying our own personality as teachers. Okay, now this is what is called the teacher personality spectrum. If you just look at the triangle here, there are 3 types of personalities of teachers. One is the authoritative type. ನಾವು ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸರಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಜೊತೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂಬಂಧಗಳನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವಾಗ ಅಥಾರಿಟೇಟಿವ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಿಹೇವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಫೈಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಅಥಾರಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಟೀಚರ್. ದೆನ್ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಹೂ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಪ್ಯಾಷನ್ ಫಾರ್ ಟೀಚಿಂಗ್, ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಹೂ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಪ್ಯಾಷನ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. Okay, so idu one category, that is the other extreme of the triangle. Then we have on the other end of the triangle personability, andre relationships na ಒಳ್ಳೆದಾಗಿ relationships na students ಜೊತೆ, colleagues ಜೊತೆ maintain ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಇವರನ್ನ, that personality spectrum is called the personability spectrum. Okay, now with this triangle we have 6 types of teacher personalities. The first, who is fully authoritative, is said to be a sergeant. ನಾನೀಗ ಈ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಟೈಪ್ದು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ. ನೀವು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಯು ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಎ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ಒನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಟು. ನಾನು ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಆಗಿ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಲಾಂಗ್ ಆಗ್ತೀನಿ ಈ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಗೆ ಅಂತಲೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಮೇ ಬಿ ಸಮ್ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಯು ಫೀಲ್ ನಾನು ಅಥಾರಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಆಗೂ ಇರ್ತೀನಿ, ಐ ಆಮ್ ಪ್ಯಾಷನೇಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಮೈ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನ್, ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಅ ಕಾಂಬಿನೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. Sometimes most of the times I am authoritative antanu kuda helbodu, and most of the times I am more than authority, I am personable antanu agbodu. So try to classify yourself. So as we go on with the slides, I will try to explain what are the characteristics of this type of personality of a teacher. If you have to improve upon, then what you should do. Okay, so adನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗೋಣ. ಈ ಅಥಾರಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ it can be sergeant type, a reluctant type of a teacher, a buddy type of a teacher, parental type of teacher. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ parental ಅಂದ್ರೆ they are towards this person, maintaining personal relationship with student ಆ ಥರ. A wizard type of teacher, or a teacher who is staying aloof, maybe more authoritative kuda, and being passionate about the job will be an aloof teacher. Okay, so just the further slides, try to analyze to which category we will belong to. That is what we will go to. So where do you fall on the teacher personality spectrum here? Now we will just see the characteristics of these types. The first type of teacher is the sergeant type of teacher. In this personality of the teacher, they are on the authoritarian side of the spectrum. Okay, you can imagine a stereotypical gym teacher who will just be giving commands and rules, and the students will have to just follow. We don't empathize ourselves, we don't respond to the situation of the child or respond. The only thing the sergeant type of a teacher wants, I am commanding, I want you to do this, and the student should just follow, should have entire discipline in the class. This is the sergeant type of teacher. Okay? Many a times they may be strict dictators, but their intention may be different. Though they are dictators, they may be dictating because they want to instill in their students a value of discipline. They want to have a structured classroom, and they want the students to work hard. These teachers, they want their students to reach their full potential, means whatever abilities the student has, the teachers want them to bring out their full potential and develop the whole potential they have. Okay, they know that if they had, the students have to come out with the full abilities, then the students need to put in hard work. So that is why they are always asking students to work hard. Taking on a strict authoritarian role, sometimes what is the negative part of it? The negative part of being authoritarian is the teacher will not be able to form bonds with the students, means they will not be able to maintain good relationship with the students. So many times what happens, the students will mistake the teacher to be very strict, and they don't want to express their feelings with the teacher. So teachers with this personality type, sometimes they need to exercise more of patience. They need to show more of empathy if they want really to be a mentor to the students. So for students who are willing to take up the challenge, then these sergeant teachers can become an important driving force for the education and personality development of the students. Okay, especially for these sergeant type of teachers, this task which they have to take up is time management. Okay, because they, you know, they are sergeant type of teachers, so they always think that time is very important, so they will work on managing their time very well, never wasting their time. The second type of the teacher is the parental teacher. Okay, this teacher personality has a strong nurturing instinct. They genuinely want their students to succeed, and they are willing to invest a lot of time and energy in helping the students. Means these teachers put in much of their energy helping students. Parental teachers, when we look into the spectrum, they fall between the passionate type and the personality type. These teachers fall in between them. They are passionate about teaching and are able to also form trusting relationship and bond with the student. This is what is the parental type of teacher. This teacher finds this system, education system, to be very restrictive. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್ನ ನೀವು ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ ಮಾಡಿ ವಿದಿನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ದಿಸ್ ರಿಲೇಶನ್ಶಿಪ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಮೆನಿ ಅ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ದೇ ಟೆಂಪ್ಟ್ ಟು ಬೆಂಡ್ ಸಮ್ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ for the benefit of the students. There are teachers who sometimes bend the rules for the benefit of the students. They are the parental type. Because they are very sympathetic, sometimes students take advantage of them. This the teacher should be very careful. ಒಂದ್ಸರಿ ಇವ್ರು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಮ್ಗೆ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಬೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ನಾಟ್ ವೆರಿ ಇನ್ನೋಸೆಂಟ್. ದೇ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ವರ್ಕ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಗೈನಿಂಗ್ advantage of the teacher. So that is where this teacher personality type will need sometimes to always exercise their authority also. But what happens for this parental type of personality, because they are ready to spend time and energy on students, many a times they get overburdened with their work. They need to learn to draw some emotional boundaries so that they will be able to do their job well. ತುಂಬಾ ಇಮೋಷನಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡದೆ ಕೆಲವು ಸರಿ ಡಿಸಿಪ್ಲಿನರಿಯನ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೂಡ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನ ಕಲಿಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಇದು parental teacher ಆದ್ರೆ. So, but when a parental teacher learns to employ a level of discipline, then they will reach their potential as an educator. They'll become very good educators. Okay. Then we have the other type, that is the aloof teacher. The teacher who stays aloof. Students get confused with their enduring appearance with indifference. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅಥವಾ ಸೆಪರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಇವ್ರು ಇಂಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಅನ್ನೋಂಥ ಕೆಟ್ಟ ಭಾವನೆ ಬರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆ ಇದೆ. ಬಟ್ an aloof teacher actually loves their job. They just don't want to over protect their students. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅವ್ರ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ಸ್ ಅವ್ರು ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ನಾವು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಓವರ್ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಕೊಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅನ್ನೋದು is this type of teacher. They try to strike a balance between patience and discipline because they're able to easily gain the students' respect. Ekandre they don't mingle with students, they stay away. So normally students try to keep them aloof and then give high respect to this type of teacher. Then they want a structured classroom so that they will be able to work well in the system. So this type of teachers are very practical. Practical means if they have to take up some job, if it is of use, then do it. Otherwise, do not do it. Okay, it is they are of that type. They are always available for students if the students want help from them. Okay. Though they are aloof, the teachers also have a lighter side. And this only students who are very close to them will be able to recognize the softer side of this teacher. Okay. There is another type of teacher who is said to be a reluctant teacher. Who is this reluctant teacher? This is the teacher, we know all of us have not come into teaching. Sometimes it was not our first choice. Maybe our choices were different, but still somehow we wanted a job, we got this, and we have come into this. There are such type of teachers also. This is sad, but it is really true. So there are plenty of them, okay, who have sometimes come into with passion, but because of the situation they may have lost their passion after many years of teaching also. These reluctant teachers are very practical and they are straightforward. They don't waste their time. Even giving time to students they think is a waste of time. These are the reluctant teachers.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, ma'am. Ma'am, we want some time for discussions also because it's from 1 to 2 it's a lunch break, but still we want some time for discussion.
It's already 1:05. Okay, another 5 minutes we'll just finish and we will have time for discussion. Okay. Now, for this personality type of teachers, they don't want to take up anything extra work to do for students or to teach them or develop some learning material for students. They don't want to do anything extra. Okay. Then we have the visa teacher. These are the teachers who we say are born to be teachers. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸರಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಇವ್ರು ಟೀಚರ್ ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ ಹುಟ್ಟಿರೋದು ಇವರು ಅಂತ. Means they are prodigies in their jobs. They act like magicians. They can do any type of work. They can maintain good relationship with students, enough time with students. They love their job. This personality type of teachers, they are very enthusiastic, they are passionate about the learning experience and materials, they are very spontaneous and very tactful in their teaching. Okay? Then they prefer hands-on participation with students, they encourage students to question them. Okay? Then they develop curiosity to learn in students. Okay, this is that type of a teacher. Then we have the buddy teacher. These teachers are those
154.
who maintain good relationship with students. Then okay, now just try to analyze among these types of this sergeant, parental, buddy type, reluctant, wizard and aloof type of a teacher, to which category do you belong? Okay, sometimes you may be a mixture of two. Okay, and depending upon the situation, maybe we take up all these types of roles also. So an effective teacher is one who will be able to take the role of all these types depending upon the situation and the type of student we get. Okay, so I think with this, there are some studies also like who have classified or categorized teachers. There is one famous study which categorizes teacher like those who prefer their profession first, teachers who prefer their students first, teachers who prefer the institution, educational institution first. Okay, so this is one personality. Then also there is another category where a study taken up by Ryans, he categorizes teacher into different personality, calling the friendly type of teacher and a teacher who is of full understanding and warmth, and teachers who are distant and cold, means who maintain distance with the child. So there are classification based on very personality of the student, the way they react to the students, the way they react to their profession. So this is how teachers must shape their students. They should create positivity, create understand the strength and weakness. They should teach the students the problem solving skills. Then teachers should set high expectations of students so that they will increase the self-esteem of the students. Okay, then indulge in inquisitive mind, develop confidence in students and adopt student-centered approaches in their teaching. Then allow outlet of emotions, means they should, we know they are young adults, they are very delicate and they have an impressionable psyche, so that we should allow an outlet of emotions. Okay, and with this I think I'll try to end. If you just look into this picture, do you get any idea who is the teacher, who is the student here? There is a swan, there is a child sleeping on the swan.
Swan is a teacher.
The swan is the teacher. If you see, if the swan, it appears as though it is swimming very coolly on top of water. Does it so coolly just wade away in water? It is continuously working below, right? It is continuously, you see that its feet will be working below the water. So the teacher is like that, where for appearance outside it looks as though the job of a teacher is very easy, but if you have to take just 1 hour of class, we know how much efforts we have to put in, so that we just take the student along very comfortably for him to learn. Okay, so this is the job of a teacher. Somehow I like this picture very much, so just I took it and then I thought I will just compare it with the teacher. Okay, With this, I think we will finish our session today. Anything you want to discuss, we can have a discussion. Or any views you want to share upon on personality of the teacher and personality development of the student, or any such incidents or cases which you can discuss with others and want to share in your experience, that also we can just share for some time. Many a times as a teacher, we would have come across some students, okay, and our guidance to them might have changed their lives. Such experiences you want to share, also we can share here.
Friends, if there are no questions, please one of the participants come forward and propose vote of thanks to Dr. Sheela Madam, and please stay online. I have one instruction to you people.
Okay, thank you, sir. Dr. Sheela Madam Ravaru ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆಯಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ ರೋಲ್ ಇನ್ ಪರ್ಸನಾಲಿಟಿ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಒಂದು ಭಾಗ ಮತ್ತೆ ಭಾಗ ಎರಡು ಕೂಡ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಿ ಮೇಡಮ್. ನಿಮಗೆ HRDC ನಮ್ಮ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟರ್ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಆಫ್ HRDC ಪರವಾಗಿ ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಪರವಾಗಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಹೃತ್ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾದಂತ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನ ತಿಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಒನ್ಸ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಮೇಡಮ್.
Thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity to spend a time with all of you and your patient hearing for such a long time. At least if I am successful in changing a little of your views on personality and the role you play in the development of the personality and shaping the life of your students, I think that much is enough for me today for having spent time with you. Thank you. I also thank HRDC and the director and Sir Ranjan Swami sir and everybody for having invited me for this special lecture. Thank you all of you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you,
madam.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Dear participants, I request those teacher participants working on deputation, please be online. The remaining participants can leave the session. You can join the session at 1:55. I need only those teacher. This is related to the certificate. Okay. So I request the participants who are working in one place and deputed to another place. Please, those teachers will stay. ಯಾವ ಟೀಚರ್ ಒಂದು ಕೆಲಸ ಅವರು ವೃತ್ತಿಯನ್ನ ಡೆಪ್ಯುಟೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ, ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಇದೆ ಅಂತವ್ರು ಮಾತ್ರ ಲೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಉಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಉಳಿದವರು ಸೆಷನ್ ಇಂದ ಲೀವ್ ಆಗಿ. ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಡೂ ಇಟ್ ಫಾಸ್ಟ್. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 participants have this problem, I think. Is it? No. Please. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 124. Sir. 124 is Vinayak Sautegi. Matadi nan jote. Vinayak Sautegi. ವಿನಾಯಕ್ ಸೌಟಗಿ, ಹಲೋ, ರಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿ ನನಗೆ.
ಹಲೋ ಸರ್, ಹೇಳಿ.
ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿ.
ಹಾ ಸರ್, ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್.
ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್ ಕೊಡಿ, ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್ ಕೊಡಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ.
ಹಾ ಸರ್, ಒಂದೇ ನಿಮಿಷ.
ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್ ಕೊಡಿ. ಓಕೆ
ಸರ್,
ಈಗ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಇದು ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್ ಕೊಡಿ.
ಹಾ ಸರ್, ಹೇಳ್ರಿ ಸರ್. ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್ ಕೊಡಿ.
ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇನೆ ಸರ್.
ಇನ್ನೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕೊಡಿ, ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಫುಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇನೆ ಸರ್.
ಇಲ್ಲ, ನೀವು ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರೆ.
ಹಾ ಸರ್, ಹೇಳ್ರಿ ಸರ್.
ಹೇಳಿ. ಈಗ ನೀವು ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡೋದಲ್ಲಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಡೆಪ್ಯುಟೇಷನ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ದು?
ನಂದು ಇಲ್ಲೇ KLE ಸೊಸೈಟಿ RL ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಸರ್, ಸೇಮ್ ಇದೆ ಸರ್. ನಂದೇನು ಡೆಪ್ಯುಟೇಷನ್ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
ಮತ್ತೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಉಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರಿ ಇವಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಯಾರು ಡೆಪ್ಯುಟೇಷನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆ ಥರ ಗೊಂದಲ ಇದೆ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾತ್ರ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಿ, ನನ್ನ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿ. ಉಳಿದವರು ಸೆಷನ್ ಇಂದ ಲೀವ್ ಆಗಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ಲೀವ್ ಆಗಿ ನೀವು.
ಹಾ ಸರ್, ಆಯ್ತಾಯ್ತು.
ಸೈಲೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊಂದಲ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ನೀವು?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹುರುಡೇಗೌಡ್ರೆ, ನೀವು ಮಾತಾಡಿ
ಸರ್. ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್.
ನಿಮ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಏನಿದು? ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ, ಡೆಪ್ಯುಟೇಷನ್ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಒಂದೇ ಕಾಲೇಜು.
ಲೀವ್ ಆಗಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಲೀವ್ ಆಗಿ.
ಒಂದೇ ಉದಯ ಬರ್ತಿ.
ಲಾಕೌಟ್ ಅದು ಮಾಡಿ, ಲಾಕೌಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ಒಂದು ಆಯ್ತದಕ್ಕೆ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಬನ್ನಿ, ಇವಾಗ ಲಾಗೌಟ್ ಆಗಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಲಾಗೌಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಿಡಬಿಡ್ರೆ, ಲಾಗೌಟ್ ಆಗಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ 160 ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ರಿಪ್ಲೈ. 160. Hello, number 160, please reply. Mallikarjuna M, 160, please reply. Mallikarjuna M. Okay, 167, madam. 167, Bhavana G.
हाँ सर भावना.
ಈಗ ನೀವು ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿದ್ದೀರಾ ನೀವು?
ಸರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್ ಸರ್, ರೀಜನಲ್ ಆಫೀಸ್.
One second. ನೀವು at present you are assistant professor of what?
Department of MCA.
What? Assistant professor of?
Department of MCA.
No. Oh, sir, please. Sir, 1 second, madam. Sir, Okay. Assistant professor of what?
Department of MCA, sir.
No. Assistant professor of what? Your designation is what?
Assistant professor, sir.
Assistant professor ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಸಾಕಾ? Assistant professor of English, assistant professor of ಕನ್ನಡ ಏನು ಬೇಡವಾ?
ಅಲ್ಲ.
No.
Sir, Department of MCA, assistant professor.
Assistant professor ಅಂತ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕಲ್ಲ?
ಹೌದು ಸಾಕು.
Okay, assistant professor, Department of
MCA.
Okay. Then
ಸರ್ ಇವಾಗ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟರ್ ಅನ್ನು ಡೆಪ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನನಗೆ.
ಅದು ಬೇಡ, ನೀವು ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ ಬರೆಯುವಾಗ ಇದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೀರಾ?
ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಸರ್, ಅಸಿಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಅಂತ.
ಈಗ ನಾವು ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ವಲ್ಲ ನಿಮಗೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಂತ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಒಂದ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ನನಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದ್ ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ ಬರ್ದ ಮೇಲೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೂ 3 ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಪದೇ ನಾನು ಗಮನಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಿಮ್ನ ಲೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ಲಿ, ನಿಮ್ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು. ಒಂದ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಹಂಗೆ ನಾನು ಸರ್ಟಿಫೈಡ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೇನೆ ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ. ನೀವು ನೋಡಿ ಸರ್ಟಿಫೈಡ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಟೇಬಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಇದು ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೇಬೇಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಈ ಮೂಮೆಂಟ್. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ತಗೊಂಡಾಗಲೆಲ್ಲ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ. ಟೈಮ್ ಟೇಬಲ್ ಇದೆ. ಓಕೆ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಭಾವನಾ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮೇಡಮ್ ಇದು?
So 167 sir. 167.
Okay, 167 ಬರ್. ಓಕೆ ಭಾವನಾ. ಓಕೆ ಒಂದು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್. ಭಾವನಾ ಜಿ, ಅಸಿಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್, PG ಸೆಂಟರ್, ವಿಶ್ವೇಶ್ವರಾಯ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿಕಲ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್, ಮುದ್ದೇನಹಳ್ಳಿ.
ಹಾ ಸರ್.
ಇದು
ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬೇಕು ಸರ್.
ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ ಇರಬೇಕಾ ಇದು?
ಹಾ ಅದು ಇರಬೇಕು.
ಇರಬೇಕಾ?
ಹೌದು ಅದು ಇರಬೇಕು.
ಸರಿ ಇದೆ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಬಿಡಿ. ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ನೋಡಿದಿರಲ್ಲ ನೀವು, ರಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದಿರ ತಾನೆ?
Yes sir, I have done.
Then it's clear. Okay. ಮುದ್ದೇನಹಳ್ಳಿ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ನೀವಲ್ಲ
ಸರ್? ಆದ್ರೆ ನಂಗೆ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್ಗೆ ಬೇಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು.
ಅದು ಮಾಡುವ, ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ ಇಲ್ಲೋ ಅಂತ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ.
ಓಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ ಸರ್.
ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್. ಬಟ್ ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ ಏನು ಬರೀಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಫೈಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಬೇಕು.
ಇದೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ ಸರ್, ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್.
ಓಕೆ ಮೇಡಮ್,
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್.
ಇವಾಗ
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು
ಮೇಡಮ್. 191
ಸರ್ 160
91 160 ವೆಯ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ನೀವು ಆಗ್ಲೇ ಕರೆದ್ರೆ ನೀವೇನು ಮಾತಾಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ರಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. 91 ಮೇಡಮ್.
91 ಸರ್.
ಹೇಳಿ ಮೇಡಮ್, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರು ಹೇಳಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರೇನು?
ಸವಿತಾ ಚೌಗ್ಲೆ ಸರ್.
ಒಂದ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್.
ಸವಿತಾ ಚೌಗ್ಲೆ.
ಒಂದ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್. ಸವಿತಾ ಚೌಗ್ಲೆ. ಸವಿತಾ ಚೌಗ್ಲೆ ಮೇಡಮ್, ನೀವು ಅಸಿಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ಸ್, ಗವರ್ನಮೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್,
ಅಸಿಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್,
ವುಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್.
ಡೆಪ್ಯುಟೇಷನ್ ಸರ್ ಅದು ಡೆಪ್ಯುಟೇಷನ್.
ಇದು ಡೆಪ್ಯುಟೇಷನ್ ಇರೋ ಪ್ಲೇಸಾ?
ಹಾ ಡೆಪ್ಯುಟೇಷನ್.
ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ನಿಮ್ದು?
ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ರಾಣಿ ಪಾರ್ವತಿ ದೇವಿ.
ಒಂದ್ ನಿಮಿಷ, ಅದನ್ನ ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೀರಾ ನೀವು?
ಹಾ
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ರ ನೀವು?
ಬರ್ದಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. ಆಮೇಲೆ
ಒಂದ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿ, ನೀವು ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಇನ್ ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನನಗೊಂದು SMS ಇದು ಮಾಡಿ ವಾಟ್ಸ್ಆಪ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿ ನನಗೆ. ಮೇಲ್ಟೆ ನಿಮ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ನನಗೆ ಬರೀರಿ, ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ ಏನ್ ಬರೀಬೇಕು ಅಂತ.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್,
ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. ಈಗ ಬರೀರಿ, ಇವಾಗ ನಾನು ಕಳಿಸಿ.
ಹಾ ಆಯ್ತು.
ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ನಿಮ್ದು ಅದನ್ನ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ನಾನು ಕಳಿಸಿ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೈ ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್, ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಗಿವ್ ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ ಟು ದಿಸ್ ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಲೈನ್ ಬರೀರಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರು ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. ಇವಾಗ ವಾಟ್ಸ್ಆಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆ ಒಂದು ಓಕೆ ಇವಾಗಿ ಓಕೆ 160.
ಎಸ್ ಸರ್.
ಹಾ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿ
ಸರ್, ಅದು ಮಾತಾಡ್ಸಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು
ಅಲ್ಲ, ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ ಯಾರದು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದೆ ಅದು ವೆಯ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ. ನಿಮ್ ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದೆಯಾ?
ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಇದೆ ಸರ್.
ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಇವಾಗಿ. ಓಕೆ 89
ಸರ್
ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿ?
ನನ್ನ ಇಮೇಲ್ ID ತಪ್ಪಾಗಿತ್ತಷ್ಟೇ, ಅದನ್ನ ಸರಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೆ
ಸರ್. ಬೇರೆ ಏನು ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಡಿ, ನಾನು ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಉತ್ತರ ಕೊಡಿ. ಹುಡ್ರೆ ನಾನ್ ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದ್ರೆ
ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿದೆ.
ನೀವು ಏನು ವಿಷಯ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀರ? ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲ್ ID ಬರೀತೀನಾ?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್,
ನಾನು ವಿಷಯ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿರೋದು ಸರ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಟ್. ನೀವೇ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ವಿಷಯ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನನ್ನ ಜೊತೆ.
ಸರಿ ಸರ್, ಓಕೆ ಸರ್.